All right, so example 1. Find the equation of the line that passes through the points 4, -2, and -3, 4. So let me first off identify the directions. Find the equation of the line. All right, that translates directly to this request. Find slope and y-intercept. All right. When you see words, find the equation of the line, you translate those words into mean, find the slope, find the y-intercept, and then we're going to write the equation from that information. Right? Every line, if it says equation of the line, that means it's a line or graph that we're going to be finding the equation of. Every line fits into the model of y equals mx plus b. Every linear equation has that specific structure to it. Once I've established the structure of my answer, that's what my answer is supposed to look like. The two things that are always happening in this structure is there's some number being multiplied by x, that's the slope. And there's some number being added or subtracted from x, that's the y-intercept. So, if I take the 2 points they give me, 4, -2, 1, 2, 3, 4, -2 right here, and -3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here, the line I care about passes through those 2 points. Okay, I want to plot both of those points on my graph paper. I want to get a straight edge. I don't want to draw this by hand. I want to get a straight edge out. And I want to connect those dots with a nice straight line. There's my line. Okay, the slope of that line is found the same way we've been finding slope up till now. We want to find rise and run and put rise over run. Keep in mind when we're trying to find slope, we want to go from a point to the other point. So I want to start at one point, get to the other point. I can either start at the red point, go to the blue point, or start at the blue point, go to the red point. Doesn't matter. But I always go vertically first, horizontally second. So if I'm going from the red to the blue, I'm first of all going to go vertically to the right height, which is right here. Then I'm going to go horizontally to the right horizontal position to get there. The arrows represent the direction I'm traveling in both movements. So if you take a look at the vertical movement, I'm going from red down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces. So -6 is the vertical or rise. Then I'm going horizontally to the right. To the right is a positive direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spaces. So +7 is the run. That tells me then that my slope is equal to -6/7. Rise over run. Okay. Rise is negative, run's positive, opposite signs create a negative fraction. All we're doing is counting spaces there. Right? Once I've found the slope, I now go back over to my structure here. What I've done here sufficiently is I've figured out what that number's supposed to be. I figured out half of my answer. So I can now transform my structure, y equals mx plus b, into y equals -6/7 times x plus b. So I found my slope. The second thing I'm looking for is a y-intercept. Now there's 2 ways to find y-intercept. The first way is inspection, and inspection only works if it's a nice integer value. Okay, so if I look here, the y-intercept is where it crosses y-axis. Here's my y-axis right here. There's where my line crosses right there. Is that a nice integer value? It looks like about 1.5, right? Maybe it is. But I can't guarantee that. So I can't use inspection to find the y-intercept on this one. Instead I have to use algebra to find the y-intercept. Here's how we use algebra. We have 2 points. Pick one. There's no correct answer. If you pick 4, -2, you're right. If you pick -3, 4, you're right. It doesn't matter which one you pick. So which one do you guys want to pick?
4, -2.
4, -2. It took about 2 seconds longer than it had to choose. Pick one. That's how long it takes to choose. They're both right. There's no wrong answer to the question. Pick a number between 1 and 10. 6. There's no wrong answer as long as you pick between 1 and 10. Right? There's only 2 points to choose. Pick one. Doesn't matter which one you pick. 4, -2. Which one's x? Which one's y?
4 is x.
4 is
4 is x, negative 2 is y. So this structure here has three variables, x, y, and b. I take my point that I know, and I change y and x into the x and y values from that point. And if I put both of those in, x and y, into here, what's left for variables? If I put x equals 4 and y equals negative 2 in, how many variables are left in the equation? One, just b, right? So that's what's going to happen here. So this says y equals negative 6/7 x plus b. Now it says negative 2 equals negative 6/7 times 4 plus b. This is how we algebraically find the y-intercept. I don't know what it is by looking, so I have to use algebra. Algebra requires us to have some knowledge. I know what x and y is. Put it in. Work it out. Okay? What happens quite often is this. Let me just show you this. And it really depends on your comfort level with fractions here. Some of you are very comfortable with fractions. Some of you don't like fractions very much. But that almost always is a fraction. In fact, I'll even go one step further. If you can't find it by inspection, it will always be a fraction. All right? Here's what I do when I'm doing this. I like fractions personally, but I still do it this way. It's the easiest way in my book to do it. I'm multiplying a fraction times a whole number. When you do that, the top gets multiplied by the whole number. Negative 6 times 4 is negative 24 over 7 because nothing's happening in 7. Plus b. I like to do that product first because I need to move the 24/7 to the other side. It requires me to add or subtract, correct? So here's what I do next. Instead of writing negative 2 here, I'll write negative 14/7. Why would I write negative 14/7? I can add it together. Negative 2 and negative 14/7 are exactly the same number. What's negative 14 divided by 7? Negative 14 divided by 7 is negative 2. They're the same number. But negative 14/7 has the right denominator, and I didn't know what the denominator is supposed to be until I do this multiplication over here. So again, multiply that first, and then transform that with the correct denominator. Move the 24/7 over, so plus 24/7, right? Negative becomes positive when you move across. If I add negative 14 and positive 24/7, that gets me 10/7 is equal to b. So again, it looked like 1.5 is actually 1.4 something. All right, so it's not quite 1.5. 10/7 is exactly what it is. All right, so from here down, so I'm going to put a line here, from there down, I used, again, this is partial answer. I substituted one of my 2 points in for x and y to figure out what b equaled. Okay? But now that I know what b equals, I want to rewrite this answer, but I want to transform b into what b actually is. So the answer actually is right here. Just change b to its value. So my final answer for this problem is going to be y equals negative 6/7 x plus 10/7. All right. A moment ago I told you that it didn't matter which point you picked, right? Made a big deal about it? I'm going to really quickly do this, but had I picked this point instead, there's y, there's x, right? So y is 4 equals negative 6/7 times negative 2 plus b. Oh, sorry, negative 3. It helps to use the right numbers. So that's negative 3, 4. So y became 4, x became negative 3 into that structure. What should I get as an answer for b?
10/7.
Should get the same answer, right? Because that's what the y-intercept is. That's what we should get. So if I try it out, 6 times 3 is 18. 4 is the same as 28 over 7. Move the 18/7 over. Subtract, and we get 28 minus 18 makes 10/7 equals b. It doesn't matter which point you pick. You get the correct slope. Pick either point, you get the correct y-intercept. Write your answer in that manner. The most common mistake students make once they figure this out, once they get good at doing this, they don't write the x. You don't write the x, you're wrong. Y equals negative 6/7 plus 10/7 without the x would be, let's see here. That's what y equals negative 6/7 plus 10/7 looks like. There's no x, so it doesn't have a slant, horizontal line. Do not forget the x.
Every year people do it, I don't know why. I never used to say it until people started doing it. Then I started saying it so they wouldn't do it and they continued to do it. I don't know. All I know is, I think it's just a lack of focus while you're working on stuff. But don't be the person that forgets the X. Very frustrating for you because you'll get it counted wrong even though you know what you're doing.